Hail, hail, and welcome to a Celtic World North America. We're part of the Celtic World YouTube channel. On our show, we try to bring a little bit of the North American perspective to the goings-on at Celtic. So another busy week, two big matches, both ended up 2-2 draws. Both had Celtic going down to 10 men, but we're still in it with a good chance to advance in Europe tomorrow. But for me, the Hearts match was always the biggest. And so ugly performance against Hearts, albeit with two beautiful goals. Hearts got tons of set pieces in great areas and put two of them away, as they do. But so lots of pressure to win now, probably nearly every game. But before we dig into the last week, let's introduce our panel tonight. So as always, Chris, how we doing? We got a little bit of somebody. I don't know who that. Do you guys hear a buzz?
I do not.
No.
I do not.
No. No, I'm doing all right.
That's the prescription medications.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of the 700 side effects on the TV commercial.
I hear a buzz.
So how's things, Chris? Cold in Nashville?
It's good. Yeah, it's still ice all over the place, so it's been fun.
Oh, it's fucking brutal up here. It's so cold. I don't think we have a foot of snow, and I don't think it's ever going to melt. But
2027, it'll be gone.
Yeah. So then we got James again from Huddle Breakdown joining us. Welcome back, James. It's good to have you back on.
Back. Yep. No, it's good to see you guys.
And then our first-time guest, Sean O'Farrell. He's one of our Plough Bhoys in Philly. Actually lives outside Philly, but can always count on him to get down to the Plough.
In PA or Jersey or Delaware? Where are you at, Sean?
I can't do any of the accents, so I'll just say PA.
Okay.
He's out in like Lancaster, so you're.
Yep.
Oh.
Right, take a boogie to work every day. All the cliches.
An Amish shagger. I got it. All right.
Yeah. Not got that far yet, but it's only early into the new year. We'll see what happens.
So welcome. We've been talking about trying to get you on, so it's good to have you on.
Yes, schedules didn't work out, but they worked out this week, so all good.
Yeah, awesome. And towards the end, I think all four of us are going to the Feile next week at the Plough, so we'll do a little chat about that and maybe come up with some plans and stuff. But first things first, always when we have our first-time guys on, we try to kind of get your backstory, how you got into Celtic, and what it's like supporting Celtic over here. So I guess first things first, how did you get into Celtic?
Really, really easy one, in fairness. It's the old kind of story older than time, like you're born into a Celtic supporting family. My dad was a Celtic fan, so we really didn't have any choice. It was just a matter of when, not if. So my first recollection of actually knowing who Celtic were, we drew my hometown club, which is Shamrock Rovers. We drew them in the old European Cup back in 1986. And we actually had tickets to go, but my dad ended up having to go to hospital. So the night porter in the Mater Hospital actually got those tickets for free. So I still remember looking at that ticket, and that was the closest that we got to seeing Celtic play in Ireland at the time. And as I said, it was the first time I had known physically about Glasgow Celtic. First recollection of watching Celtic was probably the 1988 Cup final, the famous show Maggie Thatcher, the red card, 2-1 win. Back then, Celtic very rarely on telly back home. Cup finals, big European games maybe. So that's the first. I think I was 10 maybe. Yeah, 88. I would have been 10. So that's the first major recollection I have of watching Celtic, and kind of once, and you can all attest to this, like once the bug gets you, you're in, and then it was a matter of growing up then and getting older, understanding more about the club, understanding more about the history, the fans, all that sort of thing. Joined Nave Padraig Celtic Supporters Club in Dublin. I was around 14, I think. First game was against Old Rangers. May God rest them. that was the old Celtic Park. It was a 0-0 draw. I think from memory, I think Frank McAvenny hit the crossbar. Now we were awful. We were dreadful. I don't know how we drew that day, but I just remember coming up into the old Celtic end, and I don't know if any of you guys remember it or if you probably weren't there at the time, but you had to kind of come up the way to come back down onto the terracing. And when you come up and saw the ground for the first time, that was it. That was a, what to say, a love affair that I'll never leave you at that stage. You just hooked, traveled over, had a season ticket, traveled over every year for about maybe 4 or 5 years until I got a little bit older, and then you kind of start to go into discos and chasing women and stuff like that. So your priorities change a little bit. You know, TV becomes more popular. Celtic, I think Setanta TV, or was it Sky and then Setanta, but they start showing more games. So you're kind of, your priorities change, and not priority. Yeah, your ability to travel changes a little bit. So you only get over, you take the flights rather than the boat, and you know, all that sort of thing. But it's been a constant, and moving over here, I think that's the one thing, apart from family, is the one thing that you're afraid of leaving behind, is that connection with Celtic. And you know, you've trepidation about leaving home, you've trepidation about a lot of stuff, but it's always in the back of your mind, like, will I ever get to Glasgow again? Will I get to see them play again? And you know, I didn't even know where I'd watch Celtic when I first come over, and we ended up going to the Plough and the Stars one day, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Magic.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I see you there from time to time. I've seen you listening to some Irish music down the shore in Wildwood at the Anglesey pub, which is another pseudo CSC, I guess you'd call it. Not officially official, but pretty official.
Yeah.
So it's like, and like you said, it's you're able to keep that connection, which is nice. Like there's so many guys over here, and like you probably weren't, you don't know what to expect when you're coming over. Like, what is it going to be? And it's kind of the same for us. Like when we in discovering it, like, what do you do? How do you get into it?
I had no idea. And, this was before you could kind of watch games on Paramount, or if you have access to other means of watching games, it was way before any of that. So you kind of had to go to either Feile in the city, or you had to go to one of the other bars. And, it's kind of a good thing in a way, because when I first went there, I never knew anything about the Celtic Sports Club that was there. And I'm almost sure it was St. Patrick's weekend or something like that, and there was a game on, but it was the weekend of the parade. Mm-hmm. So I met Seamus there that day. He made us walk in the parade. Again, no choice in the matter. Once you had a Celtic shirt on, you were dragged out. Weather like this, absolutely freezing cold. The only memory I have is of the people that I met and drinking Buckfast out of a Starbucks cup. Classy, I know, but when it's that cold, you don't really care what's happening or where you're getting it from.
Yeah, so I think I was probably there that day. I remember Seamus.
You were certainly there that day, because there's photographs of us standing on the side before we got to start the march. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I had met you probably as much at that point. It's been more some recent years that we've hung out and drank and watched games together. So, So I love here, and that's like when we have new people on, I think it's great to hear those stories. Like, so I love, and I knew yours already, but just kind of showing people over in Scotland and Ireland that how we all got into the club, I think it grabs people. So it's cool.
And it never lets you go.
Yeah, that's definitely. Right. So I guess we'll go back, starting off, let's go back to, and it's tough, like we're going back all the way to Thursday last week. So I think we'll just do a quick little dive into the Bologna match. I know for me, like going into it, and we talked about it last week, like for me, the Hearts match was always the big one. I wasn't expecting much out of Bologna. It ended up being a decent enough result that's going to keep us within, reach of advancing to the knockout stage. But I guess I'll start with you, Chris. Did you got to watch live, or you watch? Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was on ice storm prep, so I had to do cone of silence for that. But I watched it back. It was like, I don't know, 11 o'clock at night or whatever. I it was Celtic TV's coverage, which was surprising. Because they've been not doing those until like the replay's not up until midnight. So for me, it would be like 4 a.m. Glasgow time. So, but anyway, it was up, and I stayed up and I watched it, and yeah.
I mean, it started off great, and like
the first 5-10 minutes, I'm like, man, we're gonna do something incredible, right? Everything's leading up to it, and then tragedy strikes, and Rio Hatati's right hand goes, and he's a little too forceful, and it's a second yellow. I mean, I know that referee was looking for stuff from the very get go, but I mean, come on, man, that's ridiculous. So I mean, like, I had nothing but good feelings up until that point, and then when Rio got sent off, man, it was very tough for me to think that we were going to get anything out of the match, right? You go down 10 men in Europe, and you're like, no, we're done. And we got the second goal, and then going into halftime, and we're up 2 and down to 10. Like, I don't know what I was really thinking, really, when it got to halftime, because who knows what we were going to pull out. But I mean, things happened the way they did, and it was very uninspiring. But at the same time, hats off to them. I mean, they defended well for 60 minutes, something like that. So, they put a lot into the match, and we got a result, a draw out of it. So the performance itself, I wasn't all that keen on. I mean, we had some great passes. The 2 goals were great, but beyond that, man, it's like it was struggling. We have struggled so much in that final third. Every ball across the top is not reaching its mark, or gets intercepted in midfield, or we spent a lot of time doing the horseshoe back and forth. So I don't know, man. I think overall, and I'm like you, I think that the Hearts match was definitely the bigger of the two going into last week's Europa League match. So yeah. I don't know. You just kind of take whatever you get from the Europa League at this point, but it is what it is.
Yeah. So I guess I'll go to you, James, because I know you have a pretty good understanding of Hearts. I feel like in looking into the stats. Yes. But I guess going down to 10 men and defending like they did for 60 minutes, did that kill us going into the Hearts match? I
wouldn't have helped. I think you never want to exit a competition, but I don't think there's a lot of hope in progressing too far in the Europa League, even if we win on Thursday and get into the knockout stages. So, because we're just going to squeak in. I mean, we're going to be one of the, maybe 23rd, 22nd, something like that. So probably not going to be a real easy tie in the knockout round. But so, yeah, I didn't have high expectations going into Bologna. I thought Bologna, particularly the way they typically set up defensively, and I suspect that they were going to man mark, as teams are more and more doing against us now, particularly in midfield. So I had low expectations. I was actually pleasantly surprised with the first 10 minutes, and a little surprised with how much we affected them in our press. So the first goal was great. I mean, I think it was like an indirect pressure thing, meaning that we had them frantic, even though the keeper wasn't really pressured at the time of making that horrible pass. But yeah, after the first 10 minutes, I thought we kind of, the rest of the game, even after the red card or ignoring that red card, like I disagreed with the idea that if we would have stayed 11v11, we were going to win that game. I thought we were in big trouble no matter what after the first 10 minutes because we were just impotent. We weren't able to progress the ball and have any possession in their half. So we were going to have to, smash and grab on a counter, that kind of thing, which can happen obviously with Maeda and et cetera and Yang. But so yeah, I was thrilled with the draw. I particularly given going down to 10 men, and but that's certainly problematic as we look toward to Sunday. Because I mean they're flogging the players because they have to a degree because we don't have any depth. And certain guy, I mean, Maeda looked like he was out on his feet for stretches. It's so funny watching people's kind of sentiment online, talking about how he's a hero and, you can just get, and any rumors or thoughts that he wants to get away on Thursday because he was running around like a complete madman like he does at times. And then on Sunday, he basically can't move because he's exhausted. And then it's like, he's gutless. He wants to leave. It's just like, I think the guy's just tired, and I think that was the problem. I thought we were definitely some of the guys. Tierney looked like he was gassed too. So yeah, and Hearts is the wrong team to go into a game and have those issues because with them having a full week rest and the athletes that they have, the raw athletic ability that they have now, made it a tough matchup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, almost for me, I felt like even tactically, I mean, I guess it worked in hindsight in getting the draw, but on Thursday last week. But I just felt like we sat back so much and just tried to absorb so much of the pressure, and it just gassed us so much. One, in finishing off the match on Thursday, and then two, I said, I'm like, by the 75-minute mark against Bologna, I was like, Hearts is watching this match, like loving it. Big smiles on their face watching how that match turned out. And we just sat so much behind the ball and didn't really try to do anything with it when we got it back, which kind of bled over into the Hearts match. But we'll talk about that once we dig into that.
The other thing to speculate about is that there were so many crosses that Scales and Trusty cleared that they may have ended up with concussions for Sunday. So
yeah,
over 60 crosses that Bologna played. To put that into perspective, I'm a stats guy, one of the stats guys. Our normal opponent this season will cross maybe 15 times. So yeah, 60 aerial crosses is just like an insane number. So yeah. Hopefully, they didn't go through concussion protocol.
Maybe that's what led to Trusty's problems on Sunday.
There has to be some reason for it.
I mean, he was massive on against Bologna. I mean, probably you could say either that or Atalanta last year, probably 1A, 1B on his best performances. Add in the goal this time that put us up 2-0, probably might top that performance last year against Atalanta. But
yeah, two very similar performances. But then when he comes back to Scotland, he's peak Olivier Tebeli. I don't get it. He had. I don't know if it's because when we're away to teams like that, he's just a very, very good box defender. And then when he has to, take a touch or he has to play the ball, he has to trust his skill. He just doesn't look like he has it. He really doesn't. No. And he was giving me kittens on Sunday. Genuinely, he was terrible.
Yeah, struggled, but
he wasn't the only one, but he was up there.
No, I can't give many people passing grades for Sunday. If I'm trying to think any, maybe Schmeichel, but yeah.
New guy gets pass marks as well, I think.
Yeah. But I got fresh, and again, I don't know what you guys thought on the equalizer goal from Bologna from the winger Rowe, who looked like a player. I was like, God, I wish we could get this guy on our team. He was phenomenal. But that frustrating watching Schmeichel. He made a couple big saves. A lot of his saves are really kind of those reaction saves where he doesn't have to move, just gets a hand out or a leg out. But like, I don't know what, I'm still trying to figure out what happened. I saw some people say that he didn't see the ball because Bologna defenders were in offside position, and I don't agree with that at all. But like, just not even move on a ball, like on a shot from outside the box that's not deflected, is very frustrating for me. I don't know, like Sean, how did you see? Did you see any? I mean, I know it was a wicked strike from Rowe. He like curled it, got tons of power on it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great strike, and I'm kind of with you. I think you're clutching at straws if you say that there was an offside or his vision was blocked. I don't think we can, but it was a straight shot. It didn't move, so I don't know what was going through his mind. But the most interesting thing to me was that guy Rowe, who I thought had a really good game, they moved him inside with about 20 minutes to go, and he did nothing. They basically cut the legs off him. If they had left him where he was, I think Bologna would have won the game.
Yeah.
But they just moved him inside, and I don't think he touched the ball once he moved inside. And as you were saying earlier, we were gassed at that stage. Like, we were just on empty.
Yeah, there was nothing left in the tank at that point. But so, I mean, I held out hope that we were going to hold on there at the end and get the win. But, I mean, I think getting a draw was a good result. You can't complain. An away draw in Europe for us is big, especially that it keeps us alive going into the last day of the league stage. So
there's a way to play. There's a way to play in Europe, though, and I can't figure Celtic out at times, because I understand that when you've got 10 men, you want to sit behind the ball and soak up as much pressure as you can. But when you have the ball, and the same thing happened on Sunday against Hearts, there was just this disconnect between the defense and then everything that was going on in front of it. And I don't know if that's by instruction or if it's just that we didn't have any legs, because there's a way to play those games. So you do it, like, to break it down, and like James is a stats guy, he'd be more eloquent in putting it across than I would. But the more you have the ball, the other team can't do anything with it. And then every time we're just lumping it, and you're hoping Dyson's going to go into the corner and keep it there. That man, I understand that he's got an engine on him and everything like that, but he can't play on his own. Like, you're just basically kicking it up to him, hoping he holds it up. And then what's the progression plan from there? Because the midfield was non-existent on Sunday. No, there was nobody got past marks in there on Sunday. Nope. And the same on Thursday. After about, like, I agree with James, first 10, maybe 15 minutes, our press was very impressive. Very, very impressive. And then, I don't know if you guys noticed it, but Hatate in possession was just looking like he was looking for a free kick every time. And the second I saw that, I'm like, God, if I had a phone to Martin O'Neill now, I'd be like, Jesus, take this guy off, because he's going to cost us. We were down to 10 men. Then he more or less puts Ferguson in a headlock. That yellow card, fair enough. But 3 minutes later, to do something as silly as that. Whatever about, you're frustrated, you're not playing as well as you can, your passes aren't coming off, you scored a goal, fabulous. But 3 minutes after being booked, like, you need, like, what's he now, 27, 28 maybe? You got to have a head in your shoulders and understand that the next foul you make, you're gone. Like, the referee, especially a European referee, it's going to look for every indiscretion. You're not going to get away with the challenges you get away with in Scotland. And rush of blood to the head, frustration, whatever, but he put us under serious pressure. But 15 minutes in, 20 minutes in, looking at him, I was like, Jesus, just take him off. Steady the ship, bring McCowan on, sit somebody in there, and then just get us to halftime or even to the 60th minute, and then address it again. But I could just tell, when you get that, and I was in a meeting, so I wasn't really supposed to be watching the game. But,
same here.
Yeah, but when you get that sinking feeling when you're watching somebody and you just know something's going to happen. You don't quite know what it is, but he's going to affect the game in some way, and to his detriment, he affected it in a negative way. And eventually, I agree with James. I don't think we would have won the game if we had 11 players. I think Bologna had enough talent to get a result against us, but he didn't help us.
Nah. It was so unnecessary too. I mean, the foul was basically the ball's rolling out of bounds. Nobody was going to get to it, and
It was ludicrous.
Yeah, he was going nowhere. Absolutely nowhere.
And I mean, it was almost like a little, flail of the arm and a little kick out at the same time at the back of his leg. I don't think it was much contact, but it was just stupid. Like there was no reason for it at all. And I mean, you knew once the referee blew the whistle that the second yellow was coming out. Like it was insanity. But
yeah, I think he knew himself as well by looking at him.
Yeah, definitely.
To that point though, this has been my frustration with Celtic in Europe for years now. Is that in Scotland it's a very physical game, right? They're nobody goes in half-hearted with challenges, right? Everything is tough, it's physical, whatever. And then you go to Europe where it's not as physical, and you're playing an Italian team, and I'm not accusing them of diving, but if there's a challenge, they're going to go down faster than you can imagine. And we continually are super aggressive when we go to Europe, and that's what leads us to getting down to 10 men. And that's just been something that I've noticed over the last, 10 seasons, 12 years, is that anytime we're in Europe and somebody gets booked, it's because they're playing like we do in Scotland, where the officiating is non-existent, and challenges that are not challenges are now yellow card, red card, worthy, and it's just that's what's frustrating, is that there doesn't seem to be like the good thinking cap of how we should be strategically not going into all of these challenges like we're playing Falkirk or Ross County or whatever, because those are fouls, but they're not fouls against Ross County.
Yeah, and Alan's comment there, I think, kind of is
exactly.
It's true, and it was, we and you see people talk about it. We don't tend to do that kind of. I mean, the Italian player sold it, and we don't do that, and maybe we should. I mean, I hate seeing it, but to get beat by it is fucking frustrating, and we did it. Not that we got beat, we got draw, but
being up 2-0 felt like a defeat.
It did, yeah.
It did.
100%. Like I didn't feel good about it till probably the next day when I'm like, maybe that wasn't a bad result. But like when you're watching it, you're like, all right, let's see this out. If we see this out, this is going to be like just a massive win, and you can build on that for the league. But then it ends up we just gas ourselves into the ground and give up 2 goals and fuck ourselves for the weekend a little bit too at the same time. So, but then I guess after that we signed a striker, which is news in the Celtic world because we never tend to do anything, and so we signed Tomas. I got it down, but like this season with Celtic pronunciations is fucking killing me on
big time
with Tynecastle, Iheanacho, but I'm getting it down. But Tomas Schwanchara signed a Czech player from Germany this time, but and we could just dive right in and insert him right into the lineup on Sunday, which was nice, especially because like James, you said, like Dyson just ran himself into the ground on Thursday, and we have no other striking options. So it was almost by default. Like who else are you gonna put in that spot? So I'll stick up the lineup. We can dig into the Hearts match, and if I can get this right. So Sean, what did you think when you saw the lineup? I know for me that was like when I was looking. I saw somebody post that like this is what I want on the Saturday night, and I'm like, yes, if we do that, I'll be thrilled. So, what was your thoughts when you saw the lineup on Sunday morning?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think it would deviate much away from that because, as you guys were saying earlier, we're down to the bare bones, and that's probably the strongest team that we could play. Um, I was delighted to see the new guy start. Again, I'm not going to try and pronounce his name because I'll butcher it, but 10, 15 minutes, you could tell that he obviously was only in the building. Like, he just didn't look. I think he hasn't played games for a while as well. I think a couple of weeks maybe, or a couple of months he hasn't played in. So
Early
he just
December was his last game.
okay, so a couple of weeks, and it looked as if he hadn't played in a couple of weeks. Didn't know his teammates, wasn't sure where the ball was going to come, how it was going to come to him, but he played himself into it. And I thought in the set, I think he was taken off about 10 or 15 minutes too early, to be honest. Somebody made a comment on another podcast during the week that it was probably a sports science decision rather than a footballing decision, because personally I'd have left him on. He was the only one in the 11 that was on the field at the time that actually showed a bit of heart. He was pushing into people and battering into people, and you need, especially against them and in that atmosphere, you need players like that on the pitch. Somebody who's going to leave his mark, whether he does it fairly or unfairly, that's a matter of opinion. But there was a presence about him, and his run for Yang's goal. I mean, I was up out of my chair for that one. I think if he keeps playing the way he's playing, I'd have absolutely no problem with signing him in the summer. I think it's a 7 million option to buy, I think, is it?
Yep.
He looks like he's all the raw materials to be a Celtic forward. He'll need a couple of games to get fit and up to speed, but again, that's on the board. That's not on him. If they had him, no, I don't know. Obviously, he's probably not an O'Neill signing, but if he was even thought about, he should have been in the building weeks ago. But again, we'll talk about that later, I assume. But with regards to the starting lineup, yeah, absolutely no problems with it. And the starting lineup, great, but that first 3 or 4 minutes was the worst 3 or 4 minutes of association football I've ever seen. It was absolutely dreadful. Like, I've seen 7-year-olds with a better concept of an actual football game than what was given to us. It was, I almost turned it off. It was dreadful. And you just knew that Hearts were trying to bring us down to their level, which they did.
You're on mute, Shawnee.
Yeah, I'm muted. I guess, do you think that was a conscientious decision from Martin to kind of play that style of just hoofing it up the park? Because it looked like it. Like, I do think probably a part of it we're getting sucked into it from Hearts, but I don't know.
But that would contradict what he said when we signed him. He said that he wasn't the target man. So I wouldn't understand it from that point of view, but I don't know. Like, people were getting stuck into McGregor and saying that the captain needs to stand up, but they bypassed the midfield for most of the game. Like, he didn't have a chance to impose himself because he wasn't on the ball.
No,
and again, I don't know if that's under instruction or if it was just we panicked or we were gassed, but I don't know. It wasn't like watching Celtic that I'm used to anyway, put it that way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Same here. Chris, I mean, I guess, first thing, we can kind of go through points of the game, I guess. And again, I mean, you take these 2 games this week, both 2-2 draws, both Celtic down to 10 men, both Celtic goals within the first 10 minutes of the game, which hasn't happened that much really this season. So Nygren gets taken down, dragged back out, right outside Hart's box. Probably should have been a yellow. I think I said I was on with Gav earlier this week, and I said maybe it's kind of that referee not wanting to give an early yellow card and start off a game like that. But I mean, that was pretty much a textbook yellow card, so whatever. So Nygren lines up over the free kick. You're hearing Sutton and the other announcers saying we haven't scored on a free kick in 5 years in the league and 4 years since Jota scored against Real Madrid. And for me, I'm thinking the thought was in my head, and I'm a big basketball guy, and it 100% happens in basketball when guys made 37 straight free throws. You're like, oh, he's missing this one. I'm like, are we going to score this? So I guess Chris, take us through the free kick goal.
I mean, Shinji Nakamura, aka Negrin. I mean, I haven't seen a free kick like that in a long time. That was really a beautiful free kick and a hell of a goal. And as soon as that happened, I'm like, man, we're doing this. This is going to be us. And but I mean, like you said, they didn't call that a yellow card when he got fouled to begin with, right? But should it have been? Yes. What were they going to call it? Absolutely not. They're not going to call anything in a Scottish match in the first 20 minutes unless it is blatant and obvious. And you know that they get away with it. I mean, it's just as clear as day. Is they get away with it, and then we look, you know, like we're stuck in neutral half the time because you know, the physical aspect of playing a team that's like Hearts that has big players. They're in your face. They're making you react, and when that happens, I mean, you see what happens. You know, they don't get booked because it's never the first person that pushes somebody that causes the fight. It's always the second, right? So I mean, that's just what I expect. But from a free kick standpoint, you couldn't ask for a better one than Negrin's free kick. That was beautiful.
Yeah, it was beautiful, and like I'll just in terms of I have a new dog for the last 4 months or so, and she has not got to see my proper Celtic goal celebration because like she was stunned, and I guess that's the state of the club right now, that like we just haven't had a goal like that in a while.
If you want to be careful, she might get asked to play up front.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, it was a beauty, and Gordon couldn't get to it, and I know a lot of people don't like Gordon. I always kind of like Gordon, but
old Blue Jeans.
Yeah, so like a matchup of the old goalies on Sunday. I guess one of the next ones was, and I'll go to you, Sean, because you mentioned it earlier, with Trusty kind of looking like sometime, and I noticed that when they played Falkirk, a couple times where he just couldn't get the ball out of his feet, and I saw people blaming it on their artificial turf at Falkirk Stadium, but it wasn't like that on Sunday, where he tried to back pass to Schmeichel and almost like a kind of like karate kick. Like,
again,
I don't know what he was doing.
It's the same thing with the Hatate thing on Thursday night. Like,
yeah.
You kind of, when it dropped, your heart sinks, and you're like, oh Jesus, because he just, for all intents and purposes, he looked like he was just caught in two minds. He didn't know whether he wanted to go back to Schmeichel or what I would have done, because I've never played professional football. I would have kicked it out of play and then reset, get it back around the ball. It's what you're taught when you're a kid, but I think it's just you can kind of see it happening in slow motion, and you're like, oh no. If it had been, is it Bravo?
Braga.
Braga, sorry. Yeah. If it had been him going through rather than the other guy, I think he would have scored.
Yeah, and I mean, again, Schmeichel, who's been a kind of a whipping boy for me and for Chris probably all season. That was
I think for most Celtic fans.
Yeah, most probably. That was a massive save on Kizaridis, just a clean breakaway, and getting his foot down. That whatever left foot kick save was massive. So
it's very reminiscent of his father.
Yeah, and they did mention that on the broadcast, learned from his dad there.
Mm-hmm.
I guess next talking point would be the Hearts goal at the start of the second half. And like we put ourselves in bad positions the entire game with giving up just silly little free kicks, within good set piece range for Hearts, which is their bread and butter, and corners and stuff like that. They scored like 12 or I think 13th goal of the season or something on corners. Would have been their first goal. Since James is our Hearts expert, and you can kind of put both goals in the same, both Hearts goals, very, very similar. How'd you see Finley's goal for Hearts?
Classic. That's what they've been doing all season. It's kind of back post, and if the guy's got a clear line of sight, he'll shoot. If not, he'll head it back across, and they have numbers there too. I mean, so they hired a set piece coach, a dedicated set piece coach back in June, I believe, and it's clearly shown. I mean, they've been excellent on set pieces all season. Spoiler alert: Rangers hired one not that long ago, as well, and they've taken off on set pieces as well on a relative basis. So, yeah, this goes back to why dumb fouling is increasingly problematic with the kind of new focus on set pieces, where you have teams that are weaponizing every set piece possible. That if you're going to give away just dumb fouls, kind of the non-red card version or second yellow version of the Hitate foul against Bologna. If a guy's 30 yards away from the pitch running towards the sideline, then don't foul him. Like it's just don't do it. And actually there's stats now that track this, that and it's reflected in value models, based models. It's a huge problem. Like, it really increases the probabilities of opposition teams generally. And then if you get teams like Hearts that are really good at weaponizing it, then it's catastrophically stupid. And we were catastrophically stupid on many occasions in the game, where it's not, it's different if you're in there like going for a tackle and you're really battling for the ball. But how many of ours were just guys have no shot at winning the ball and just going through somebody, or, lighting them up because they're pissed or whatever. Like, I mean, it's just, I thought we were really poor in that regard. And we were probably fortunate not to have conceded another one or two in that regard. And that's even beyond what they have, basically 3 1v1s.
Yeah, they did.
Not the one Kiservidis when he cut in the now infamous penalty ask on the who said the karate kick? I mean, Scales had a karate kick. Yeah, he had a side kick. He was like Ralph Macchio and Karate Kid there before Kiservidis took that. Had that. That wasn't really a 1v1, but it was a clear high quality chance. But the other two were clean through. So yeah, we were very fortunate, I think, not to have conceded more. And it was refreshing to score from a set piece. I mean, it's just generally we haven't done a good enough job. So that's a phase of play that's been really poor, and one of many things that we need to address in modernizing.
We have tons of modernizing, and doesn't seem like we're going to do it, but it needs to be done. So then I guess next two plays I'll mention are the new guy, Shvan Charan. I'll get good at it eventually, but
Big Tomas.
Yeah.
Big time.
Nigrin gets it on the wing, a little chip over, and it seemed like it was a nothing kind of play. Shvan Charan is not able to get any power whatsoever on it, but a little looping header that Gordon can't get to, hits the crossbar, like right on the corner, crossbar and the post. That was probably the first. Shvan Charan didn't do much before that point. A few little nice touches on when he was trying to hold up play and link things up between the back and the front. But so that was good to see. First time seeing that, and then I guess the next one is the goal, and that was part 2 of my new dog of experiencing my Celtic goal celebration, and that was more out of I think disbelief, because I'm like thinking at that point, we're not getting anything out of this game because we haven't strung 3 passes together the entire game. So I guess I'll go to you, Sean. Take us through the Celtic the goal to put us up 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, the goal itself, the run and the cross itself were very, very good. I was very impressed with that. But his first touch when he flicked it around the corner to Dyson, I don't think he meant that. Now I haven't looked at it back, but first time watching it, I don't think he meant it. Took it well, Dyson took it well, played him through, and I didn't realize he was that quick. Like he basically left the right back for, I don't know who the right back was at the time. I don't know where is that Schweideline or something.
Yeah, he's the guy that never played right back before. That Derek McInnes has 2 right backs that Jamestown had them sign bench so that he can play a center back at right back.
Interesting.
Yeah. So the fact that he doesn't have right back pace, it's because he's a center back.
Because he's a center. Well, that figures, yeah. But I mean, he left them for dust, and the cross itself was great, and we haven't seen enough of that this season. We used to do it all the time under Ange. That exact type of move, we'd have somebody coming in from either wing, whether it was Jota or Abada or little Kyogo. God, I miss him. But we haven't scored that type of goal in a long time. So you're kind of watching it and you're like, it's the flashback to the Ange years. I'm like, I can get on board with this. If this guy brings this to our team, whoever scouted him, whoever brought him in, brilliant. I thought it was a great goal. And Yang's celebration was great as well. His missus must have stayed longer after Christmas.
Yeah, and that's like, I mean, when you all the interviews with Schwanchara when he got signed was for the first quality that when I guess they were asking him what his qualities was. First thing he said was fast, and you're like, all right, well, I'd like to see that because first thing when you look at him, you're like, oh, he's a big guy. Like, is he going to be like the winning headers and scoring goals?
Somebody yesterday compared him to Samaras, and I thought it was a brilliant comparison.
Excuse me, I saw that too, and yeah,
same sort of language style. He doesn't look like he's moving quick, but he covers the ground really quickly. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was interesting. I can't claim credit for it. It was somewhere online yesterday, but
yeah, I saw that too. Comparison. Yeah, so hopefully that is what he turns out to be. I would take a Samaras, but
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but so the goal puts us up, and at that point, I'm like almost feeling like I did against Bologna. Like, we don't deserve this, but
we'll take
we're up to. I'm like, can we see this out? And I guess it was probably about 10 minutes later, we get the trusty red card. Well, initially a yellow card, and it goes to VAR to switch it to a red card. So first things first for me, I would say, and we'll talk about the red card, and I'm guessing we'll kind of all be on similar viewpoint on that. But like, how does Trusty let that happen? Even though the entire defense, to let Kabore get behind you at that point in the game, holding a 2-1 lead when it was like 73 minutes, I think it was around there. So that was the frustrating point for me. So I guess I'll go to you, Chris, in terms of what is thoughts on the play. I mean,
well, so I know this has been picked apart from everybody online, and everybody's got their own opinions, and some think it was a foul. Some people don't think it was a foul at all. The Hearts player, and I don't remember what his name is, Kabore. He went down multiple times in multiple challenges and had set a precedence for getting free kicks, right? And he did that early on throughout the match. And, so that when there's a decision that comes down to something like this, and he continually has gone down throughout the match, it's easier to say, oh, well, that was for sure, a foul. That being said, I think that there's some truth in that. We were all gassed by the 78th minute in the Hearts match on Sunday from playing the 90 minutes in Bologna on Thursday. And, you know, Trusty doesn't have much left in the tank. Scales doesn't have much left in the tank. You know, they're all kind of running on fumes. You know, I've watched it back multiple times, and the ball is headed, you know, 12 yards away from him, kind of at an angle. Would Scales be able to cover? Maybe. If Trusty took a different line, could he have gotten back faster? Yeah, he could have. Was it a yellow card? In my opinion, yes, it was a yellow card. I don't think it was a quote unquote clear goal scoring opportunity. But having said this, you know, there's nothing that you or I or anybody else that could have done about what happened after the fact. But the way VAR is set up is to catch obvious misses, right? And that wasn't an obvious miss. He booked the player. The ref on the field booked the player, and somebody else said, "Hey, wait a minute. You need to look at this again because it was a red card." And as soon as you go back and look at it, you could make the case that it was a clear and obvious goal scoring opportunity and it was red card worthy. I don't think that it was. I think that it was a foul. Trustee should have taken a different line. It shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have happened, but it did. And you know, we can sit here and complain about it and say that it's wrong, but I mean, the fact of the matter is when they appealed it, the appeal was rejected too. So, you know, it's very frustrating that this has led to the discussion throughout all of social media and you know, Scottish media and everything has talked back and forth. Was it a red? Was it a yellow? Whatever. I mean, it was a yellow card. It was miscalled, and you know, there's nothing that I can do to change it. But you know,
Peter Grant was very good in it actually yesterday. He dissected the whole thing, and from somebody who's played for Celtic and has played the game, I thought he was pretty even-handed about it. I don't think it was a red card, but you know, once it went to brother beaten, nothing else was gonna. There was never going to be once he went to VAR, and you knew who the VAR referee was. Yeah. It was always going to be a red card. Always.
Yeah, I mean, you feel like almost every time they go to the monitor, it's going to be
very rare.
The call is going to be overturned 9 times out of 10.
But it's particularly with Beaton and Dallas, particularly with those two.
So I'll be very interested to watch the Willie Collins show on this one to hear the audio, because I think that I really do think it'll be interesting. I mean, I don't know. For me, it's don't give them the opportunity to make that call, because
yes,
you're putting yourself in a really bad spot. So I don't know. I mean, James, what did you think? I didn't get your opinion on it yet. I'm sure.
Yeah, we went over it on our show earlier in the week. When I was watching live, I immediately thought red card. I was like, oh, we're in big trouble here.
I did too.
Yeah, and then when you see the replays, and honestly, you know, I'm not a laws of the game guy. I keep getting corrected on that. I say rules, and they keep telling me it's the laws of the game, not the rules of the game.
Semantics.
Right, Sean? And so, you know, now go read about it. And there's 4 criteria. And so I agree with you, Shawnee. The audio is going to be what really confirms what happened, because for it to go to VAR, with there being 4 clear criteria to be a dogso or whatever they call it, is one of those 4, McLean had to have not seen or processed correctly in order for Beaton to say, hey. And the only one I can think of, and I talked about it on our show, is, and I see this all over the place online, and I joked, you know, we had one of our commenters complain about, I don't know if it was tongue in cheek or not, because I got into geometry, and you know, it's our show, we're a bunch of nerds, right? So So Alan put up a chart that somebody sent him about a dog so ruling and like lines coming out from the 6-yard box to the corner of the penalty area, and that the little zone from basically the half circle of the halfway line in the attacking half, between that is like the dog so area that where they, that's where they'll consider it. And one of the big criteria is that the ball has to be going towards goal. And the dialogue on this has been all over the place, and a lot of people saying what was going away from the goal. I'm like, no, there's geometric certainty that the ball was rolling towards the goal. It was at an angle. It was getting closer to the goal than it had been. So that is by definition towards the goal. It wasn't going directly at the goal, that's for sure. So if McLean didn't call it a dog so and or straight red because it wasn't going towards the goal, that is a factual error. I don't know if that's what happened, but I'm trying to come up with like, how could they justify even going to VAR? And it has to be one of those 4 criteria, and that's the only one I can come up with. So other than that, it'll be fascinating to hear how they did gymnastics to get it reviewed, number one, and then what was it that McLean didn't get correct the first time that got overturned. So yeah, I don't foul a guy from behind when he's got a straight run into the goal. I mean, that's kind of the moral of the story. Even if it's a light foul.
I wonder if the tiredness kicked into it there as well.
100%.
Oh, totally.
Decision making after playing 60 plus minutes on Thursday, and then almost
and he's been flogged.
80 minutes. Yeah,
Trusty has been flogged. Alan and I on our show talked about. I mean, he was the one guy in the Nancy tenure that, even though it was only 33 days, Trusty played pretty much every minute, and with the role that he had in that system, he was running like a lunatic.
Yeah, and he was playing in defense on his own most of the time too, so he's covering a lot of ground.
Oh yeah. Oh, my
yeah.
God.
So I and the other thing is to go on a tangent briefly on the whole Hearts obsession. So what the analog that I've used to analyze Hearts, kind of the benchmark to say, okay, how is this? I joke it's the immovable object and the unstoppable force, right? And that's why I'm so obsessed with Hearts, which is this modernity of Tony Bloom going into Hearts and trying them not to be, kind of traditionalists. And it's traditionalism in Scottish football is like the immovable force. So when I saw the lineup and Craig Gordon was starting, it was like, that's insane. Like, I can't believe he did that, but I can believe it. You know what I mean? Like that Tony Bloom was in the stands going there, what the fuck is this lunatic doing? I guarantee it. Because Schlawwell's been really good for them this season, and he drops them for Craig Gordon. Well, the other thing that happened is Kabore and Braga, who have almost not played it all together at the same time in this system, that's what they do at USG. Like, they have 2 really big physical or quick guys that press like lunatics and that are a horrible handful for center backs. And that's Kabore. And Trusty, if that's a Shanklin, Trusty can handle him physically, but Kabore is a really strong, quick, tough dude. And that's not Trusty's, weakest piss Trusty under the former manager. Right. So that's not a matchup that's going to be a good one. And, so that was part of my fascination going into this game, was how would McInnes address the loss of the 3 big players, Bedingame, Devlin, and Shanklin. I thought he was okay in midfield. They signed Leonard. Leonard's very good. Magnuson's good. But he went to 4 center backs and Gordon. So, he was still Derek McInnes. But so I have empathy for Trusty, because it's like the old Lyndon Dykes. People thought that what's his face? Julian was weak. And it's Lyndon Dykes. Like, that's a tough matchup. He's a big physical guy. Like, you're going to lose some of those. And if you're tired and, you're not a big physical center back, that's not Trusty. I mean, he's more of a speed guy. So yeah, it's a rough matchup for us. So I'm not surprised that it happened. And even earlier with the flick on that put Braga straight through. I mean, that again, that's how USG play. Like that. McInnes has intentionally not been allowing them to play that way because of his insistence on playing Shanklin. So we should be prepared to see a lot more of that in the future as they inevitably sack McInnes. My guess is this summer.
Even after possibly winning the league?
I
don't think they're going to win it. I mean,
even if they do, I think they'll sack him. They'll be what they may not technically sack him.
Yeah, dude, that'd be fucking ballsy.
He'll go get a job in the bottom half of the English Championship or something.
Okay.
You know, he'll leave quietly. Like Brendan Rodgers wasn't technically sacked, even though it was, you know, you either resign right now or you're fucking out of here. That's you know, it's one of those conversations. And here's the NDA on the way out.
And they mutually consented him.
Right.
All right. So I guess last part of this part of the game, and we held on, you know, and again, in this whole time, last 20 minutes, trying to hold on with 10 men, and we're still giving away set pieces, like just recklessly, diving into challenges that we shouldn't, and holding on for a little bit. And then I think the one that we actually, and this was one of, I love Dyson, one of my favorite players. And he was awful on Sunday. Probably worst match in a Celtic shirt that I can think of. The play that they gave away, the free kick on, I think Murray battles and wins a ball like right on like where the free kick was won, and just a little tap back to Dyson, who just I don't even know what, it just gives it right back to Hearts, and then and it fouls. So we get that set piece just a perfect spot for them to throw in one of those crosses, and it's identical to the first goal. Back post, two Celtic defenders trying to win a header against was it McEntee, I think, who?
Yes, McEntee.
Yeah, McEntee wins the header, puts it right back across the box to Braga, who just smashes it home. And you're like, and I was gutted at that point, like, because similar feeling to the Bologna match on Thursday, where I was like, are we going to see this out and get a win away in Europe? And then on Sunday, are we going to see this out and get a big win with 10 men against Hearts at Tynecastle, cut the lead in half at the top, and just wasn't meant to be. We just couldn't hold on. And I'm sure at that point, and I was saying it in the first half, we were gassed. I remember saying it like between 35 and 40 minutes. I mean, we got to get to halftime because they just look beaten, and it just probably got worse, as the game went on. Chris, how did you? What was your reaction to the equalizer?
Frustration. I mean, it's just once Trusty gets sent off, everything that happens is just frustrating. They were just begging for those free kicks, a ball across the top. But we shouldn't have been there to begin with. We shouldn't have made. We shouldn't have committed fouls. We shouldn't have given them an inch. But I mean, to take a point away from it, okay, great. Now what? Now let's sign some more players. Let's at least try to bring something back for this season. But I mean, it's just I'm frustrated, and I think there's a lot of Celtic supporters that are like me, that are just, we're frustrated because we can see the things, but we can't see the things. You know what I mean? Like we could point out these issues of where we're deficient, or we want to see X, Y, and Z happen, but there's a lot of stuff that we're not seeing it, and it's just frustrating because we should have won Sunday. We should have won Sunday.
No, I agree. I'll put up Strangelow's comment. I do think probably in the end, and again, it's one of those things you have to kind of step back from. It was probably a better result for us in the end than for Hearts. Like, they could have really put us away.
Given the condition that we were in, I don't think that's a bad comment to make at all. I think if it might have been on Axom today or yesterday. It was Paul John Dykes, and he said that if you had given him, a 2-all draw away with 10 men in Italy and a 2-all draw at Hearts with 10 men, playing that amount of time with 10 men, you'd take it every day of the week and then regroup. Yeah. Now, to Chris's point, the flip side of that is you bring Martin O'Neill back and you don't give him the tools to do the job. Where do we kick on from there? Because
that's right.
There's a big game tomorrow. Falkirk game is not a gimme on Sunday. Are we going to give the man the tools to do the job, or like we need to start acting like a big club? We just have to. I don't care. It's getting to Paul Hartley and Barry Robson time here. Like, sign somebody who can do a job for 6 months and just get us over the bloody line. Because to lose the league to this Rangers team or this Hearts team, I don't know. It'll be a long summer. And then how do you fix it in the summertime? Because if we're already shown that Rodgers wasn't backed, Lennon wasn't backed, Rodgers wasn't backed again, O'Neill's not being backed, who's going to come into that omni shambles? Because I wouldn't.
No, I totally agree.
So then somebody mentioned, I'm not sure who mentioned it earlier, but the mechanics behind the scenes have to be better. They have to be improved. We have to build a structure so this doesn't happen year after year. But to as I said, to cut a long story short, to get those 2 results, given the sparse resources we had on the bench on Sunday, like he's basically, I mentioned it in a group chat the other day, if we win the league this season, that man deserves a statue outside the ground, because he's making silk from a pig's ear. Genuinely.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a fucking miracle worker. I mean, to get what he's gotten out of the side so far, I feel like is almost a miracle worker. Like, we've lost one match under him so far.
Well, to steady the ship after that Nancy debacle, that's enough. Yeah. What we do after that is going to be based on what that shower of clowns give him, because it's depressing. Just to bring that man back and like even attempt to ruin his legacy. Sharks in the car park won't even be the half of it. Like, it's just you can pick on certain people, but you just cannot touch that man. You can't. So give him the bloody tools and let's get this job done.
Agreed. All right. Well, before we move on we'll do a quick dive into the transfer window, which there's really not much to talk about, I feel like. But
next,
I'll play a quick little commercial, 30-second spot from the sponsor for our show. Hang on 1 second.
Every life is full of stories, and we all know someone whose story should be preserved. That's what an audio memoir is, a record of you or your loved one's life stories, family anecdotes, and poignant memories. We will talk online and then edit the recordings into episodes, accompanied by family photos and contemporaneous images of the past, creating an enduring audio-visual experience. We all know someone who deserves an audio memoir.
Yeah, so thanks to Audio Memoir for sponsoring the channel. And when you place an order, if you use the code Celtic, you get a 10% discount. So again, thanks to them. So I guess transfer window. The big talk today was the striker from Bodo Glimt.
Come on.
No, I know.
Hey, Shawnee, I'm going to have a threesome with my wife and Salma Hayek, too. Come on. What's going on here?
Not after me, you're not. we're in fairy tale land. But at least they tried, right? They tried.
Yes. I did see a good comment on social media today about we need to announce who are interested in a striker, and Norwich is then going to sign them. And it's true. Like, lately they've been, picking at our. I mean, are we even interested? Who knows? Like, do we even table a bid of what they're saying? Like, it was 7 million euros, 8 million euros. Who knows?
Norwich bid 6 today, I think.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, again, and this guy scoring in Champions League he scored it today. He scored twice against City last week. So, I mean, it is a pipe dream, I guess, but is that what Celtic has become? Like, we're digging at kind of, I mean, you would call Shvanchara kind of succeeded at Sparta Prague and then made a big move and kind of failed, and then we're going to swoop in and kind of, is that our level now that we're, I'll go to you, James. What do you think our shopping, spot is?
We're acting like a club who sacked their head of football operations on the fourth day of the window being open with no infrastructure behind him. And Roger Mitchell, who's a Celtic supporter who used to run the SPL way back in the day, who's pretty well connected. He's worked with on a consultancy basis with various clubs in Europe, including Club Bruges. Put a post up on Twitter today that I saw that he's heard from multiple teams that basically they're fielding calls from Celtic saying, "Do you have anyone that you can loan us?" Basically, that's where we're, and if that's true, and I take Roger at his word because he does have those kind of contacts. Kind of fits with the way things are going. You know what I mean? Like if it was just that, it'd be like, oh, that kind of sounds crazy. How would that be? But then you listen to Martin O'Neill's comments and you put it within the context of all the other managers' comments in the recent years, and the fact that we wiped out the recruitment part of the club recently, including the head of scouting that went to, I think it was Swansea. Left in the fall. And again, independent of what everyone's opinions are on whether these people were any good at their job or not, if you don't replace them, who the hell's doing the work? So we have Foz doing it. We have Maloney doing it. We have the scout that we just hired from Chelsea doing it. Some scouts that are still there. That's been out in the news. Smart guy by the name Mark Cooper working on it. And Martin O'Neill, who by his own words has not been paying attention to this shit at all up until like 3 weeks ago. So that's who's trying to put pieces together. And to my knowledge, none of these people are recruitment experts. They might be scouts in certain ways, but that's not the same thing as like a modern recruitment person. So shocker, you wipe out everything on January 4th. It's not going to go well. I mean, particularly given the lack of robust infrastructure at the club to begin with. So this shouldn't be a surprise. And this was also part of, I was not a fan of the decision when they did it, because this was the other side of that, which is, again, no matter what people say about Tisdale and whatever, the three people that were lined up to get signed looked like they made sense for a Nancy system. It was Arajo, the guy who Sunderland swooped in and signed, so and Sunderland's pretty well run now. So, it wasn't like a dumb club coming in, and this hybrid defensive midfielder right back in Sigger, who's a Canadian international. So those are the three guys that were going to be locked and loaded to be signed right away. In a parallel universe, we signed those guys and we're still playing Nancy ball. Is that better than what we're seeing now? I don't know. But the idea is we would at least had some guys in the door, and it might have made sense a little bit at least, versus this shit show. I mean, it's a complete shit show. And maybe they'll still pull it back. Like maybe they have a contact and a guy, but that's what Shvanchara speaks to, is a guy whose career is off the rails because he has behavior problems. Those are the kind of guys that get shopped by their agents begging for people to take them. That's who we're taking. And I'm not saying he's a bad player. Like, he's a good athlete. He's fat. I mean, we saw it. Like, he's got skills, but his own dressing room basically threw him the hell out of Germany. That's usually not a good sign.
It's a red flag for sure.
Normally, and a guy who's gone to multiple clubs in pretty quick succession, oftentimes a red flag. So I wish I was optimistic. Like, I want to be surprised. I hope we're surprised. I hope we get 2 or 3 guys in that make sense. But the other part, the other 800-pound gorilla in the room, is that the way that Sean Maloney coached it at Hibs and his game model and the way he thinks about football appears to be
Brendan Rodgers adjacent. And that is not how Martin O'Neill plays football. So if Maloney's picking the players and then Martin O'Neill's looking at him and saying, do I want him or not? Where's the joined up thinking there? Because one guy wants a hold up striker. The other guy wants a guy who can play and build up and play with his feet. How's this going to work?
No, I'm 100% with you. It's
swooping in and, blowing up negotiations when they're done anyway. So
you almost feel like the best move at this point, and I mean, you hate to say it, is like just the loan till the end of the season kind of guys that will suit Martin's style to help us win the league, and then we move into the summer. That's I feel like a horrible way to look at it, but it doesn't.
That's where we're at.
It doesn't prepare us for next season at all in terms of Europe. If we're even, qualifying for Europe, if we're in second or third in the SPFL, will be a nightmare. That's another thing to take into account. Like, it's kind of a dire situation right now. I feel like this transfer window, and we need to do something. Like, you saw it I feel like you saw it on Sunday. If you didn't see it on Sunday, then you're blind. Like, the club has to know that something needs to be done to inject some kind of life into this team.
What happens if any of Trusty, McGregor, or Maeda do their hamstring? That's how thin we are. Like, any of those guys, and we've had guys doing their hamstrings right and left because they're getting flogged. So, and we're not going to be recruiting to sign for depth behind any of those guys. So we need 2 to 3 and everyone to stay fit while they're being flogged.
Yeah,
that's where we're at.
Yeah.
I would say 4 to 5, to be quite honest with you. But
Well,
we're not going to get 4 to 5.
You're just getting greedy.
I'm an eternal optimist.
You're back to my Salma Hayek analogy.
It's just rolling around in my head. But if we're a big club and we're intent on winning this league, you go and you get 3 or 4, 5 at a push. People that have been around the block, people that have 28, 29, have played at a high level of football, and just get us over the line, because we can do all the recriminations and we can do all the analysis of it in the summertime, but there's no point in doing that if we don't win the league, because we're going into next season with 1, maybe 2 hands tied behind our back because we haven't done our job properly. Just get the league won. I don't care how we do it. Don't care who we sign. At this stage, I really don't care. And just get that league done.
Yep.
And it can't be projects. The first project player that comes in and has a bad game is just going to be rinsed, because that's not what we need right now.
Amen.
Well, and it's there for the taking. That's the most frustrating part about this, because Derek McInnes is a lunatic, and he's not just doing what's easy and obvious. And Rangers are still, going through their growing pains with their new ownership. But Rangers could easily kick on here, meaning that they've had a big run of results with kind of iffy performances, but their signings this window have been pretty good. And that's the one thing they do have, is depth. So they have a lot of guys that are all just kind of but is better than, which is where our depth is at. Yeah. It's we have guys, if you bring in the second stringer, if you bring in Ralston, and I love Tony Ralston, but if you bring Ralston in for Araujo now, it's a huge drop off.
Yeah.
There's no one behind Tierney. Maybe Srirachi's coming back, but we've got no one in midfield really that's functional that against anyone that man presses us. So, they have that depth to play the way they play, but it's there. To your point, Sean, if we just acted like a responsible, reasonable club, even with the mess that we put ourselves in, it shouldn't be that difficult.
No, to still be in this position, given the absolute carnage that this season has been so far, it's a gift, because it's still in our own hands. Like, Roll has the Huns organized, and whatever, like their players are, as you said, they're, whatever. I wouldn't take most of them, but I watched them last week, and did they play Ludogorets, I think, last week or something?
Yep.
And they were organized. You can see that they're structured. They know how he wants them to play. We're all over the shop. Now, some of that is a residue, a leftover from Nancy. That's going to take a couple of weeks to eradicate, but they have the momentum as well. Hearts to a certain extent too, but as you said, it's still there. If we just, for hoping against hope, Salma Hayek is up there somewhere. Just get us the players and at least give the man a fighting chance. At least if we go into these last 16 games and, give it a go and see where we are in May. But don't hamstring the man. Just give him a bloody
Put
chance.
some pressure on post-split. That's
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if we win our next 5 games, I think Rangers play Hearts in that time as well. So we win our next 5 games, 5 league games. The league table could look a whole lot different going into, late April or early April.
Yeah, and Hearts have a rough stretch between now and March.
Yeah.
So that's why it's frustrating that we see it the way it's going. It seems anyway, unless they pull it back here in the last few days. But because there should be ample opportunity. I mean, I've been saying for a while, I think it's a race to 80 points. And I've actually been thinking about downgrading that to even like 75 to 78.
Yeah,
there's too many good teams now. There will be, when people go to Motherwell now, doesn't matter who you are in the league, you expect to drop points. That's how good they are now.
Yeah.
And that's different.
They play the best football in the league.
They do. And Falkirk, going to Falkirk is no freaking picnic.
Yeah.
So, Rangers, Hearts, us, all of us could be dropping points in those kind of, particularly away fixtures. At St. Mirren's always a freaking nightmare, or can be anyway. I mean, so at the Dundee United is not fun going to Tannadice. So I don't think, I'm not happy saying this. I think if things start to click at Rangers with their chance creation, that's been their problem. I would say they're the team most likely to go on a big run. Again, I don't like having that opinion, that view. That's my honest, objective analysis. I'm not happy about it. But outside of that, I think it's probably going to be a slog to get to that kind of 75, 80 points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, our next stretch of games in the league is probably one of our easiest stretches. I mean, I lose easy in loose terms because nothing's really been easy this season. But I think we got we have Kilmarnock, we have Livingston, I think at Livingston away, Kilmarnock at home, I think, so not the toughest stretch. We're still, I mean, as fucking astonishing as it is, if I looked at the betting lines the other day, we're still the favorite to win the league, which I think is crazy with the way we played. I mean, we've had 6 losses for a Celtic team, but in the first 23 games is just unheard of, so
it's COVID season. That's what
it really is. So
the only ace that we have is Martin O'Neill.
It is, yeah.
And that's, again, I'm clutching at straws. It is the only ace that we have.
He's not related to Salma, is he?
I don't know.
I don't see a resemblance.
Yeah.
So I guess, all right. So it's, I don't know. I think we came to the conclusion that probably in terms of results for this week, it probably wasn't the worst in terms of 2 draws with 10 men against away at Europe, away at the league leaders' Hearts. But somehow it still feels depressing right now at the club because we're just not improving ourselves. We've had it's 28 days into the transfer window. We got Araujo, which I really like. I think we said before of anybody you would give passing grades on Sunday, we said Schmeichel, but I would give Araujo passing grades. I think he was solid on Sunday beyond anybody else. I don't think anybody else on the side would get passing grades.
He did his job on Sunday.
Yeah, so I guess that's a positive. Schwanchara remains to be seen. He played probably a little less than 60 minutes, contributed to the goal. didn't do a whole lot else, outside of that. But I think we're hopeful and kind of desperate at this point to have a striker who can do something. So I guess moving on from the depressing part of supporting Celtic
Let
right
me leave
now.
it with optimism. We
Yeah,
got
bring it.
Iheanacho looks like he's going to be back soon, and Srirachi. So
Yes.
those two guys will make a meaningful difference in depth. So we've been so stripped, not even just the asset stripping, but between the injuries, the long-term injuries, and then the rash of soft tissue injuries starting back with Osman and then Iheanacho and et cetera. Getting some of these guys back will be hugely important and help a lot.
Yeah, I agree.
Just hope we don't lose more guys now. That's the thing.
Yeah.
We can't guys coming back. We can't have more guys dropping like flies. That's the risk.
Yeah. Well, my positivity that I was going to bring to the side was that we're all going to get to drink together next weekend in Philadelphia.
Absolutely.
And sing some songs and just get to hang out, which it's that camaraderie. I've never got to meet James yet, so I'm excited to get to hang out with you a little bit next week. So when are you getting in next week, James?
I'll be there Friday afternoon probably.
Okay, cool. Staying all weekend, or what's your?
Yeah, I'll be leaving Sunday.
Nice.
I won't be staying for the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I'll have to be in detox by then. But
as we all. Well,
at my age, back-to-back nights that's about it. I can't go for the hat trick, or I'll be in the ER.
yeah, I got 3 in me. Then it's over. Then I'm done. But I think then I'm cooked. But I'm gonna put up the schedule for the events, and so we can see it a little better. No, that's not it. Can't see it any better. And we put it up the last couple of weeks, but just to promote it a little more, like it's starting on Thursday night in Philly on the 5th. And we got Peter Grant coming in. We got Tosh McKinley. I know they're doing an event at an Italian restaurant on the Thursday night, but I think that's pretty small, and I didn't get tickets for that. But
I think that's sold out too.
Yeah, it sold out really quick, almost immediately. It seemed like I think there's only 25 seats or something like that. So I knew that was going to be a hard one to get. So I'll be down on Thursday, and hopefully just get to hang out with you guys, and that'll be my kind of preparation night for the debauchery on Friday and Saturday night. But the music all weekend is great. Like we got Bogside Rogues is on Saturday night. They're one of my favorite bands. Durham Farrow, he's been playing there in recent years as well. And Jason Lewis, who I've only seen live, do a couple songs here and there where he was jumping on stage with some of the bands I was going to see. And then Friday night, John O'Callaghan used to be in the band Jameson in Philly, who's one of the big Irish bands in the city. And then Brian McGuire as well. So lots of little events tucked around all those. And we
When the cup game is what time?
That's
12, I think. Yeah.
12:30, I think, on Saturday afternoon is when that is. So
All right.
I'm trying to hide that and get my screen set up right. So I'll be in town all weekend. And I know we got I'm excited to hopefully see a lot of the guys who we've had on this podcast. I know some of the Columbus guys are coming in. Sean Finn, he was in the chat earlier from Pittsburgh. He'll be in, and all those guys. It's always amazing to see them. And I know, Chris, you probably, and I think is Peter coming up from Nashville.
Yeah. And I think he's coming on Thursday as well. That's when we're coming up. We're coming up on Thursday, leaving on Sunday.
Yeah. So I mean, it's always an amazing event. I know. Have you been to any of them, James? Have I missed you there in years past?
Yeah, I went to a couple before. The last one, I think, was when Fallon was there.
Oh, okay.
So that's pre-pandemic. I haven't been.
Yeah.
Have they done one since the COVID?
There was one
There's
2
definitely
years
been
ago.
one.
Yeah,
Okay,
two-
then I missed that one. Yeah,
Yeah,
I went to
2
two
years
prior
ago.
to that. Yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah,
it's a
'cause
great time.
we didn't have one last year because the Pittsburgh guys had their one.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
we got-
I had planned to go that, and then I had a family emergency. I couldn't make it, but yeah, no, very much looking forward to it. And anyone watching wants to come up and call me a virgin to my face after all these years on the show.
I told my wife that story earlier tonight about was it your daughter who said like she saw you were like a specky virgin?
Yeah, specky virgin. Yeah. Oh, I've been called everything in the book.
My wife was cracking up at that, so
I love it. That's great.
I'm sure you do. But yeah, it's a great time. Like, and like I've said it. I mean, me and Chris talk about it all the time. That's where I met Chris, probably 12 years ago, right?
Yeah.
2014.
2014. The first one.
And we get to hang out. You know, we had a little break between the times where we got to hang out, but like in recent years, we get to see each other once or twice a year, and it's like just awesome seeing your Celtic pals and getting to hang out for the weekend. So I love it.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So I will be down there on Thursday night for a little bit, and then pretty much Friday to the rest of the weekend. So, Sean, when are you getting in?
I'm gonna get there Friday afternoon, I think. All day Saturday, obviously, and then flying home to Ireland on Sunday. So that's gonna be fun.
Oh,
Nice.
How long are you home for this time?
Just a month.
Nice.
Just a month. So I'm under instructions to take it easy on Saturday, which I'm gonna fail at really badly.
Yeah, you got no chance of accomplishing.
Oh, there's absolutely no chance. So I was actually contemplating not drinking for the whole weekend, and then I was like, that's never going to happen. So I might as well just reconcile that with myself right away.
Yeah, I give up on that.
Well, I'm dropping my car off at a friend of mine. A friend of mine lives beside Feile Airport, and he's literally lives right beside me back in Dublin. So I leave my car with him, and he usually drops me to the airport. But I'm trying to entice him to come in on Friday. He's never been to the Plough, and he's never been to a Feile, so it might be time to break his duck.
There you go.
I'll get a few beers into him, and then we'll jump on the train in and see what happens.
All right. Well, I think this is actually our longest. This is our longest show we've ever done. We've gone over an hour and a half tonight. Good job, guys. I guess I'll say thank you guys for listening tonight. Thanks for all the guys getting in the comments. It's always good to have you guys on there and throw them on the screen and interact with everything. Give a like and subscribe to the channel so you know when we're on. We usually do Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Sometimes I'll mix it up a little bit, but generally this is where we're at. Next week, we haven't even talked about who we're going to have on next week. I guess we'll have to figure that out, me and Chris. But thanks for James for coming on, and thanks to Sean, first time.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it was fun chatting with you guys.
Yeah.
It's always good to rehash everything, and I think this season particularly, like it's been a hard watch, a lot of games, and so I think being able to rehash it with your pals a little bit midweek is always helpful. Over a couple IPAs, even more helpful.
Better days are coming. Days are coming.
Yeah, so onwards, hopefully win the league, and then we didn't even. I wanted to do like a little bit of a preview for tomorrow, but who cares about that? Well, I'll be I'll be watching. I'll
just win.
Yeah, like Sean said, I'll have a meeting at I think it's 3 p.m. tomorrow. Meeting at work at 3 p.m. in my office. Do not disturb, so I can actually watch this game, and I'll be.
You can watch the Vasilis Barkas revenge
game.
You just know he's going to have a worldie tomorrow.
Totally.
It'll be like the reincarnation of Gordon Banks tomorrow.
Absolutely. All right. Well, cheers, guys. Hail, hail. Thanks for listening, and we will see you guys next week.
Chuck y'all on.